1. Time zones can be pretty weird, and one of the strangest things about them is that some places observe half-hour deviations from the standard time zone. For example, India is 5 hours and 30 minutes ahead of UTC, while Sri Lanka is 5 hours and 30 minutes behind UTC. This means that when it's 12 p.m. in India, it's 6:30 a.m. in Sri Lanka. 2. You might think that time zones are strictly longitudinal, but that's not always the case. China, which spans a massive 60 degrees of longitude, uses a single time zone across the entire country, which means that when it's 8 a.m. in Beijing, it's still 8 a.m. in Shanghai, even though Shanghai is almost 2 hours ahead in terms of solar time. This can cause some interesting effects, like the sun rising at 10 a.m. in Western China. 3. The international dateline is another time zone anomaly that can cause confusion. When you cross the dateline from west to east, you essentially travel back in time by 1 day, which means that if you celebrate your birthday on a Thursday, you could celebrate it again on Friday if you cross the dateline. This can be pretty disorienting, especially if you're trying to keep track of what day it is. For some time zones are so small that they only cover a single building or even a single person. The Canadian city of Lloydminster, for example, is split between 2 time zones, with the boundary running right through the middle of town. There's even a bar in the city where you can have a beer in one time zone and then walk a few feet to the other side of the room and have another beer in a different time zone. 5. The world's most extreme time zone is probably the one observed by the research station at the South Pole, which uses New Zealand time even though it's located almost directly beneath the prime meridian. This means that when it's noon in New Zealand, it's also noon at the South Pole, even though the sun might not rise for another few months due to the polar winter. It's a weird quirk that can make life at the research station pretty surreal.